Hello again, everybody, along with Joe Simpson, Skip Carey, back with you at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where, as you can see, the status is quo. The rain continues to fall. We've checked with the Philadelphia officials, and they have checked with the Weather Bureau, and the latest word from there is that around 8:30 this rain should clear out, if they're accurate about that, and as you know, they aren't always accurate. It's very difficult to tell. And then we would probably be looking at about a 9 o'clock start for this game. If and when we do start, Greg Maddux will be on the mound for Atlantic. Kurt Schilling will be on the mound for Philadelphia. And each time we come back, we have a little more bad news for you. In our first report, we told you about David Justice having to leave the team, being given permission to leave the team for personal reasons. His status is day-to-day, and Otis Nixon was penciled into the lineup to take his place. But now the Braves have found that Otis is unable to play, and it is a legitimate injury. He's got a toe injury that's been bothering him, and he's been getting treatment for about 4 days, and he can barely walk, much less run. So now the number 2 hitter for the Braves and the right fielder is first baseman Brian Hutter. And the Braves are down to 4 men coming off their bench, so maybe the best thing could happen to Atlanta would be if this game would be rained out. But as I said, the weather forecast indicates that we will get started an hour to an hour and a half late, and when we next check back with you shortly after 8:30, we ought to have a better handle on that. Staying with the baseball theme, we'll go to This Week in Baseball, and then we'll be back with you at Veterans Stadium to update you on conditions here. So now back to our studios in Atlanta. Not much has changed in Philadelphia, folks. It's still raining. The field is still covered. They still hope and feel that the rain should end at any moment. One good piece of news, they tell us, is at Shea Stadium, the game is underway. Montreal failed to score in the first against New York, and normally when the weather clears there, it shortly clears in Philadelphia, and we'll hope that is the case tonight, and that is the forecast, that within minutes the rain should cease. While we have a moment, we will look through the other scores for you. The Cubs have already beaten the Pirates in Pittsburgh. 5-1 the final score. Jose Bautista the win. He's 2-1. Former Brave Zane Smith the loser. 0-2. Ben Shelton his first homer for Pittsburgh. Tonight, St. Louis has now, we just got word, St. Louis has taken a 4-2 lead over Florida at the end of 2.5 innings. Greg Jeffries has a home run in that game for St. Louis. Jeff Conine has hit one for Florida. Joe McGrain against Luis Aquino in that one. As we said, Montreal failed to score in the first at St. Louis. Brian Barnes against Dave Telgater. Later on, Cincinnati at Colorado, Jose Rijo against Armando Reynoso, another former Brave. Houston at Los Angeles, Mark Portugal against Ramon Martinez later. And San Diego will be at San Francisco. The Giants have won 10 of 11. Doug Brocail on the mound for San Diego tonight. Trevor Wilson will pitch for San Francisco. In the American League, Cleveland leads Milwaukee 1-0. They're halfway through that game. Navarro against Tom Kramer. Carlos Baerga has hit his 13th home run for Cleveland. Boston 1-0 over Minnesota after 2. Scott Erickson against John Dobson. Texas failed to score in the first at Chicago. Kevin Brown against Jack McDowell. California and Kansas City about to get started, and later Oakland at Seattle in the American League. One other piece of baseball news. The Red Sox have placed pitcher Roger Clemens on the 15-day disabled list, retroactive to June 19th with a strain of the major groin muscle in his right leg, and they have announced they will purchase the contract of pitcher Aaron Seeley from Pawtucket of the International League, where he was 8-2. The Rangers have placed infielder Billy Ripken on the 15-day disabled list. He has a pulled left hamstring, and they have recalled infielder John Shave from Oklahoma City of the American Association. Greg Maddux will pitch for the Braves tonight. Kurt Schilling will pitch for the Phillies when and if we get underway, and we're hopeful that within the next half hour or so, Braves baseball will be coming your way. All in the Family is our presentation coming up for you. We'll be back in a half hour to update you from Philadelphia. Thanks for your patience.
The following is a presentation of TBS Sports.
The road trip to Montreal proved to be a successful one as Ron Gant helped power the Braves past the Expos 2 out of 3 games. But the road doesn't get any easier. The Phillies have chalked up the best record in baseball and aim to gun down the 2-time league champions. With Philadelphia's wide array of power, Atlanta's Greg Maddux will have his hands full. The Phillies will counter with all-star hopeful Kurt Schilling. Brave fanatics, beware.
as Nixon to the wall. He caught it! Unbelievable! Kiss this one goodbye. It's a slam. And down the stretch he comes. Here's the Braves win! Braves win! Braves win! Braves win! Braves win!
Hello again, everybody. Along with Joe Simpson, Skip Carey, welcoming you to another night of Atlanta Braves baseball. This time from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. A lengthy rain delay, but it's cleared out of here, hopefully. And we will have baseball, and the Braves go against the team with the best record in baseball. And, Joe, the Braves go into this game not at full strength, that's for sure.
Absolutely, Skip. It'll be David Justice, who's home on personal reasons. Otis Nixon suffering a little bit with an infection in his foot. So Brian Hunter is forced into duty in the outfield for the first time since April of 1992. Jeff Blauser still nursing that sore shin that he suffered yesterday on a foul tip. But the Braves certainly are going to try to make a dent in these Phillies ball club that has been an offensive powerhouse all season long.
They really are a good team, and they're getting great pitching, too. We'll talk about that when we come back right after this from your sponsor.
'93 Atlanta Braves baseball on TV.
Field about 2 hours late, thanks to the rain delay tonight here at Veterans Stadium. But we're going to have baseball, and here's the Turtle Wax Color Magic starting lineup. Bobby Cox had to assemble this one tonight with a shortage of players. Deion Sanders, Brian Hunter, and Jeff Blauser. Terry Pendleton drops to the cleanup spot. Ron Gannon, his familiar fifth spot. Then it's Sid Bream, Damon Berryhill, Mark Lemke batting eighth, and Greg Maddox will hit ninth and pitch. The defense for the Philadelphia Phillies, who have a few guys banged up themselves. They have Milt Thompson in left field, Lynn Dykstra in center, Jim Eisenreich in right. On the infield, it's Kim Batiste. Joe Millette is at shortstop, Mickey Morandini at second, John Kruk at first base, Darren Dalton behind the plate, and on the mound, Kurt Schilling, making his 15th start of the year. He already has 5 complete games and 2 shutouts. He pitched against Atlanta back on May 15th and got no decision in a game the Braves won 5-3. In fact, he matched up with Maddox on that occasion, but he went 7 innings, gave up only 3 hits and 2 runs, walked 3, struck out 5. But he is a tough customer, and you can see right there by his numbers, he's having another sensational year. Umpires for tonight's ball game. Charlie Rutherford is behind home plate. Dana DeMuth is at first. Jeff Kellogg at second, and Paul Runge around at third. When you look at the standings coming into play tonight, checking the National League, of course, here's the National League West with the Braves 7.5 games back of the Giants, who will be entertaining the Padres tonight. The Dodgers 9.5 back. Houston now 10.5 back after being swept at home by the Giants. And in the East, it's a comfortable margin for the Phillies. A 9.5 game lead over St. Louis, who is playing tonight at Florida and had a lead at last report. But the Phillies still have a couple of guys banged up. They've got Pat Combs on the disabled list. Wes Chamberlain. Mariano Duncan has a hamstring problem. That's why he's not in the lineup. And, of course, the third baseman, Dave Hollins, will be missed for about 4 to 6 weeks with a broken hand. Deion set to lead it off, and here's Skip.
Okay, Joe, thanks very much. Sanders hitting .217, a homer, 7 RBI. Big Kurt Schilling cuts it loose, and we're underway, and that's a strike, and we're 2 hours and 5 minutes late, or thereabouts. It's 72 at game time. The pitch. Broken bat grounder to short. Millette has it. Throws to first. 1 down. Boy, they are really pumped up here in Philadelphia. Despite a 2-hour rain delay, they've got about 35,000 people here, 38,000 tickets sold for a Monday night game.
Looks like Kurt Schilling was pumped up a little bit, too. Started off Deion with his first hitter that he faces. Schilling, the last couple of years, a guy that really was a forgotten man. Started out in the Red Sox organization, went to Houston, was traded over here for Jason Grimsley, and you can see that with the Phillies, some sensational numbers.
Brian Hunter, the batter, he doesn't hit second in the order very often. I would guess this is the first time he's ever done it as a Brave. He's normally in the 4, 5, or 6 spot. He pops one up into short left center field. Millette is out there. The shortstop has it, 2 down. And Jeff Blauser heads to the plate. Joe mentioned the Phillies' physical problems. Pitcher Pat Combs on the disabled list with a sore left shoulder, and it's still bothering him. Wes Chamberlain on the disabled list, a full left hamstring. He'll be ready to go, they say, on July 1st. Mariano Duncan, normally their shortstop, left last night's game with a right hamstring problem. They'll miss 3 or 4 days. And as Joe told you, Dave Hollins, right hand surgery. Their doctor says they hope he'll be ready sooner than was originally thought. You could see there, Blauser didn't get much of a cut, and I think it's more because of his foot than his hands and wrists. He is really hurting.
You can see the pad actually sticking through the lower portion of his left leg there, trying to make sure he doesn't injure that side of his shin again.
Foul tipped again, not a good swing. A ball and 2 strikes. Schilling out of Anchorage, Alaska, lives now in Marlton, New Jersey in the Philadelphia area.
Last night in Montreal, that was a huge swelling on the inside of his shin.
I'm really surprised that he's able to go tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Terry Pendleton with a 10-game hitting streak waits on deck. Schilling, a very quick worker. Looped foul down the right side. It's still 2-2. Schilling 2-1 lifetime against the Braves. Pitched well against Atlanta this year. Pitched to no decision in a game won by Greg Maddux in Atlanta, 5-3, a month or so ago.
He's won his last 6 decisions, but that's over 11 starts. And the team 8-3 during those starts, but he hasn't had too much luck.
High fly ball, short left field. Look at that Millette. Look at the ground he covers. Milt Thompson calls him off, makes the catch, and the inning is over. The Braves go very quickly and very quietly. Bottom of the first, no score. We go to the
bottom half of the first inning,
and Joe has the lineup for you.
Well, it's been a couple of hours. I mean, you know, you sit around, you sweat. There's the lineup for the Phillies tonight, with Eisenreich in there, Kim Batiste, Joe Millette, Curt Schilling in the bottom third of the order, and we're set to go. Glenn Dykstra will lead it off.
And he's hitting .288. The pitch is high. 1 ball, no strike. There's a look at the Braves defense, Joe. Such as it is tonight.
With Hunter and Wright.
Brian's not a bad outfielder, but he hasn't played much right field. Normally it's left. When he's out there, a strike to Dykstra, who's 13 out of 53 in his career against Greg Maddux, who is 14-6 lifetime against the Phillies. One of those wins, as I told you, this year, back on May 15th. Up and in. 2-1 to Dykstra, 288 hitter with 7 homers, 19 stolen bases.
And on top of that, the best on-base percentage of any leadoff hitter in the National League. He's just a point under 400.
You look at the job Lee Thomas has done assembling this team, and you really got to tip your hat. Took something off. Dykstra out in front, 2-2. They only have about 4 guys on their club that have come through their farm system. One of those is maybe the best catcher in the National League, Darren Dalton. He was a 25th round draft pick. Two and two, the count. Lined into left, but right out round Gant. 1 down. Dykstra hit it hard, but out. Mickey Morandini will be the batter.
The outfield is going to be treacherous. You take a look at Maddox's numbers for the year. The tarp covered the infield portion of this artificial surface, but the outfield is saturated with water. The outfielder is going to have to play deep because the ball is really going to hydroplane on anything that bounces in front of them.
Morandini hitting .233. He's done well, though, against Maddux in his career. Fast strike to 0-1. He's 14 out of 34 against. He's got pretty good running speed. He has 7 stolen bases. He's yet to be thrown out. Line back to Maddux. 2 down. That's 2 balls hit hard, but 2 outs. The Phillies' starting rotation is as follows. Terry Mulholland, who they got from San Francisco for Steve Bedrosian. Tommy Green, who they got from Atlanta for Jeff Parrott, Jim Vatcher, Hector Rosario. Ben Rivera in the Donnie Elliott deal from Atlanta. Curt Schilling from Houston for Jason Grimsley. And Danny Jackson came from Florida for 2 young players, Matt Wisenant and Joel Adams. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, really. David West in a deal for Mike Hartley. Jose De Leon was a free agent outside the cut. Mitch Williams in a deal with the Cubs for Bob Scanlon and Chuck McElroy. Larry Anderson signed as a free agent. De Jesus they got from Kansas City for Steve Joltz.
And most of those guys you just mentioned acquired within the last 5 years, and 5 years ago today, Lee Thomas was appointed GM of this ball club.
Truck didn't get it. He was a big hero here yesterday. Brought him from behind with a 3-run homer to beat the Marlins 4-3. Marlins losing tonight at home to the Cardinals 4-2.
He had a great quote about Charlie Huff's knuckleball. Did you see that in the paper today?
Yeah.
So the knuckleball was un-American.
Line down the left field line. Gant coming over. It's a foul ball. Kruk hitting a cool .362 for the year. He has got, in my way of thinking, the perfect baseball bat.
You would. And he likes to hit the ball to the opposite field. Great power to left center. In that very strange and different batting stance, but whatever works and whatever feels good to you, that's what you ought to use, and that's what feels good to this guy.
He likes to hit the left, but you pitch him inside enough, he'll turn on one, as he did yesterday. Hit it just inside the foul pole and right. Down and into it. Two balls, two strikes. Two out, bottom of the first. Greg Maddox goes to work. Let up, got him, inning over. Good pitch from Maddox. And he gets him 1-2-3 in the first. After one, we are scoreless.
Self-defense for Greg. And really didn't have a chance to position his glove anywhere other than at the side of his leg, and the ball found it. And maybe cut it part of the pocket he really didn't want to catch it in.
It's not his pitching hand, so he'll be all right. 1 ball, no strikes to count to Terry Pendleton. Up to .252 and a 10-game hitting streak. 3 out of 16 against Schilling in his career, and he rips one fair into the corner. Milt Thompson plays it and fires to second. Now he won't even bother. Just lobs it into the infield. It's a double for Pendleton to start the second. An 11-game hitting streak. Ron Gant will be the batter. Another look. He really inside-outed that ball. And Gant will stand in.
Apparently they're having a little trouble next door in our radio booth. Got a little electrical fire going on over there, right under Don Sutton.
Is that what that smell is?
Yeah.
Curve low, 1 ball, no strikes. Well, let's check it out here.
Well, I think he's dancing and prancing. He's going to select a new way to work. And you know the soles of the shoes that he wears, they're just going to melt right off.
Yeah, that's right, because the shoes are 30 years old. Look out, folks. Line foul down the right side.
Not funny.
Yeah, even his hair is standing on end. Oh, it's always like that.
Yeah, it's... I hope he's waving because of the smoke.
The stretch. Pitch to get swing and miss.
Another side note to that is that when we got to the ballpark tonight, both of our booths were saturated with water from heavy rains here in the Philadelphia area last night, but the radio booth had standing water in it, so you don't want to be camped out over there grabbing onto anything metallic.
Might be a good night to not rotate. Just stay on TV for now.
Yeah, that's right in your spot, too.
Watch the big guy move. Gant's out of there, 1 away. Schilling records his first strikeout. And Sid Bream will be the hitter. Another look.
Trying to get the guy to third base, but the fastball from Schilling keeps Pendleton at second. Gant with an inside-out swing. Both teams took batting practice before they covered the field, and the rains came. But Schilling's throwing very hard here, and the guys are a little bit tardy.
Sid Bream at .226 with 6 homers, 21 runs driven in. A strike on the corner, 0-1. Sid now a 10-year man in the major leagues. Came up in the Dodgers organization. then the Pirates, and a big part of Atlanta's success the last 2 years. Schilling wants Dalton to start over with the signs. Schilling, an interesting chap. He's a World War II history buff. Contributes to a national newsletter for fans of military board games. On the corner to Bream.
He's throwing some jet fuel right now because he is throwing extremely hard.
Braves hope to drop the big one on him here. Outside the Bream. One of us up here predicted the Chicago Bulls in 6 in the NBA playoffs. You happen to remember who that was?
No, I don't.
Line fair, and the Braves should have the lead. Pendleton will score. Bream will go to second. That ball kicked back toward the infield, which turned out to be a break for Atlanta, and it's 1-0. Bream's 22nd RBI. He really nailed that ball. 1-0 our score.
The stands jut out right near the foul line, about 100 feet past first base. Sid was able to tune up that swing a little bit and yank one down the line here, but watch how it hits that pad right where the stands stick out. Terry Pendleton able to coast home because when Eisenreich went into the corner, the ball didn't get to him.
Damon Berryhill can't catch up with the fastball. It's 0-1.
There's a pad right on the corner of the bleachers there, and that's where the ball got hung up.
Honesty compels me to report it was me, or I, whichever is grammatically correct, who picked the Bulls in 6.
Congratulations.
Thanks. The pitch. Foul tip.
Pretty good guess, considering it was, what, 2 days ago?
Not at all. Before it started. Ye of little faith.
You're a big Lee Jansen fan, too, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Thank you again for your contribution. In our U.S. Open pool. Thank you, Lee. He's an Orlando man. Lee Jansen. A ball and 2 strikes the count. Upstairs, 2-2. Well, I guess it bears repeating about David Justice. He's been given permission by the Braves to return to Atlanta for what is termed a personal matter. The stretch fouled away. I don't know what it is, and it's human nature, I guess, to think the worst, but I do know the people I respect who do know, Dean Taylor, the Braves assistant general manager, being one of them, looked me in the eye and said, believe me, he has a good and valid excuse, and my theory has always been family comes first. So, David, if you're looking in, I hope everything's all right and you get back quickly. Grounded. Funny hop. Good play, Crook. He'll take it himself. That ball could have easily gotten into right field. It hit right on the rim between the dirt and the artificial stuff and could have sailed over his head. Good reaction by Crook.
You got to be quick to pull this one down. Damon hit it hard, and right on the seam it took this funny hop, and the big man able to get the glove up and keep it from going into the corner and take it to the bag himself. Nice play.
Mark Lemke, the batter. Runner at third, 2 out of play, 0-1.
Part of what's helped Mark Lemke this year average-wise, and you see it's at 260, is that he has really cut down on his strikeouts. In fact, only 3 Ks in his last 73 at-bats. So he's been putting the ball in play more often and finding some holes.
The wind, the pitch. Check swing. He stopped in time. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. Braves lead at 1-0. We're in the second. Greg Maddox moves on deck. High and outside. Dalton wants a word with his pitcher and heads to the mound. Interesting. Saw an interview with Dalton last night on one of the stations up here. I don't know if it was ESPN. I think it was. Where he talked about, had one of those family games a couple of years ago, and his little boy was 1 year old. He was struggling. That's when he had the bad knee, and they booed his 1-year-old son. He says he'll never forget that, and I don't blame him.
I don't either.
The 2-1 pitch. It's high, and it's 3-1.
That's right. That was the year that he was in the car accident with Dykstra.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Both suffered through some injuries and a bad year.
That's right through there. He was taking all the way, and the count's 3-2. I'm really surprised he was taking with the pitcher up next and a runner at third with 2 outs. Must have been looking for something off speed. Lined into right center field. It's 2-0. Good job of hitting by Lemke. Bream crosses the plate. A lot of Braves fans here, and they're making a racket. Number 23 in the RBI department for the Atlanta second baseman.
That's something the Braves have sorely missed and are going to need a lot of if they're going to close the gap with the Giants, and that's some 2-out hitting. High fastball hurt Schilling there, and Lemke made him pay.
Runner at first, 2 down. Maddox had a home run cut, but came up empty. Well, there's your lead, Greg. Now go hold him.
Well, that's about what he averages in run support. 2.7 per start.
Breaking ball is downstairs. Montreal leads the hapless Mets 4-2 after 4. Foul tipped into Dalton's glove. A ball and 2 strikes.
After catching that line drive in the palm of his left hand, he doesn't seem to have any trouble holding the bat here.
Curve a little bit high. The weather, by the way, is supposed to improve the next 2 days, though there is a chance of showers tomorrow evening, they tell us. But it's not as gloomy a forecast as it was for today. 2-2 line, left field, base hit. Thompson over fast to cut it off. Lemke will stop at second. And Thompson almost got hurt as he threw that ball. He slipped as he fired it towards second. So Schilling getting banged around here in the second inning. And Deion Sanders with a chance to do further damage.
Thompson must have thought that Lemke was headed to third and was going to concede third for him to throw to second. Normally, when you go over into the corner, you make your throw to third base. He threw that one straight down into the turf.
Yeah, he really slipped as he cut it loose, and you can see why he made the mistake. He had to keep his eye on the ball to make sure it didn't get by him to the wall.
This is not a fun night to play the outfield. Because of the speeds that the balls are going to get to you, they're not going to take a true hop. They're not going to take a true roll. On the base hit by Lemke, you saw Dykstra really giving ground to make sure the ball didn't get by him, just to give up the run and make sure that Lemke only got a single out of the play.
Johnny Padres to the mound for a word with Schilling, and Sanders the batter. He grounded to short, broke his bat. In the process, his first time. Four hits in the inning for Atlanta. They play Deion straight away. Downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. Brian Hunter on deck. Otis Nixon unable to play with a foot problem, and that's legitimate too. It's got nothing to do with his trade or any of that stuff. Inside to Sanders. He started to go, slammed on the brakes, 2-0.
No, given an opportunity to play, he would
jump on it.
Just as soon be out on the field.
Fouled back. It's 2-1. Let's see if Dalton's okay.
That missed the glove and got a piece of his forearm, it looked like.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Tough customer behind the plate, though. Oh, right on the triceps, that left arm.
I love it when you use big words. Check, swing, tap. It's 2-2.
Kinesiology, you know. I was a teammate of Mike Marshall's once.
That's right, you were, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Mike made a stop in Atlanta for a few years. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Very interesting guy. Not your atypical baseball type. The 2-2. Fouled it back. A breaking ball. Count stays the same.
In fact, I believe I read somewhere where he had taken a job as the head baseball coach at West Texas State because they had started their program back up again. And if that is the truth, I wish him well.
Me too. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 out. Line, right center field. Dykstra on the run, still going, can't get there. 1 run is hit. Maddox is around third. He will score. Dion races for third. He'll make it standing. And it is 4-0, his first triple of the year.
Mark Lemke has had some success against Curt Schilling, 5 for 11 lifetime. You throw out Lemke and Maddox, and the rest of the starting lineup, lifetime against Schilling, hitting only 191 combined. And they're making the most of this second inning with 4 runs across. Now Dion went down and raked a low fastball.
Boy, he can hit the fastball. There's no doubt about that. Brian Hunter stands in. That's away. 1 ball, no strikes.
Dion very excited about that first triple, too. Not only did it produce 2 runs, he got to third base, was pumping his fist. After that, he contributed another 2-out RBI hit.
Boy, he had a good cut there and fouled it back. It's even now at 1-1. Well, you don't know how this game will wind up, but there is a message in this. The guys who don't normally play get paid a lot of money, too, and when they get a chance, they should take advantage of it. Ground ball hit hard, but right at Morandini, and the inning comes to a close. A very good one for Atlanta. 4 runs on 5 hits, 1 left. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. Greg Maddux has himself a 4-run lead. Bottom half of the second inning. So far, so good. Braves on top, as you see, 4-0. Joe Simpson, Skip Carey with you. Darren Dalton, Jim Eisenreich, no counts in the first 3 in the second inning for the Phillies. They have the best record in baseball. They're 48-20. They're 1-2 against the Braves. We won 2 out of 3 down at our place in mid-May. Braves home against the Astros over the weekend. Fast strike, outside corner, 0-1.
I know the Braves are shorthanded tonight in terms of personnel, but with a 4-run lead and not wanting to lose Jeff Blauser for any extended period, and knowing that something just like that might happen later in this ballgame, I think I might get him out of there right now, give Belliard a few at-bats, let his defense take over, and get Jeff perhaps in the training room.
We'll keep an eye on that possibility as we go along. Dalton with 15 homers and 57 runs driven in. A little chin music there. 1-2 the count. He's hitting .261.
Braves have already doubled up for Maddox tonight, what he normally gets in runs on an average per start. But when you give him 4 runs or more, check out this record.
Boy, that's not too bad. And may it continue tonight. High pop foul back and out of play. Well, there's an electrical fire in the radio booth.
Makes you kind of want to sit here with your feet up, doesn't it?
It does. I can't wait to get over there.
I don't know what Sutton's going to wear home for shoes, though.
Line left center field. Dion over and up with it. Dalton will be held at first. Sanders, an accurate throw to second base. So there's the first base runner for Philadelphia in the game. Dalton now 10 out of 35 against Greg Maddux.
This Phillies team, 6th in the league in batting average at .267, but first in runs scored, first in home runs, first in walks, first in on-base percentage, and they're also first in strikeouts. They've struck out 446, make it 447 after Kruk fanned in the first.
Eisenreich having a fine year. He's out of St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Everybody's been talking about the Phillies offense, the Giants offense, the Tigers offense. This Philadelphia ball club, when you talk about differences in runs scored versus their opponents, amazing.
They're averaging 5.5 a game, giving up 3.9. Can they get two? Lemke steps on the bag. Yes, sir. Double play. 4 unassisted to 3. And 2 quick outs in the second inning.
Wow, did it look like to you that Lemke was already throwing the ball before his foot hit the bag? Looked like he was already beginning to face Sid Bream before his foot hit the base. Nice play. That was quick, too.
He can play second base. Here's former Brave Milt Thompson. Second trip around with the Phillies. Downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes. Milt was involved in that Bedrosian trade, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? Pete Smith and Ozzie Virgil came, and Milt Thompson and Steve Bedrosian went, I think. Bobby Cox's first trade as general manager. Two out, nobody aboard. A little tap to second, easy play, inning over. So Maddox gives up a hit, but faces the minimum again at the end of 2. Braves lead it 4-0.
Good start for the Braves. We go to the third. This telecast authorized on a broadcast.
Flat out his first time. The 0-1 pitch is skied into right field. Pretty well hit, but Eisenreich is there waiting. He's got it. 2 down. Rather, 1 out. Blauser flies to right, and Terry Pendleton, the batter, he started the 4-run explosion in the second with a line double to left, making it 11 straight games in which he has hit. Same 2 teams tomorrow at 7:30. We'll have it for you. Pete Smith against Danny Jackson. And then on Wednesday afternoon, a business person special at 12:30. John Smoltz and former Brave Ben Rivera will match up. A little bit outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Tell you what, if the Braves win this game and they lead by 4 with Maddox on the mound, that will assure them of a decent road trip. You go to Montreal and Philadelphia and come home at 500, you've got nothing to be ashamed about. But the Giants are playing so well. They came back and won that game yesterday, started by a relief pitcher, Brian Hickerson.
When that's happening, you know you're going good.
Right back up the middle. Schilling couldn't get it, and Pendleton continues his good work with a bat. Runner at first, 1 out. That's the 6th hit off Curt Schilling. That's not the way he's normally treated.
Terry at 254 before that at bat. Climbed over 255 with his single, so he's moving right up the list. Making up for a lot of lost time, too. 257, Hal Galima tells me.
Ron Gant struck out his first time, hits this one into left field. Pendleton around second. Milt Thompson over and up with it. Pendleton is at third. He'll stay there. Gant stands at second. And the Braves are knocking at the door again. Pendleton comes up limping.
Terry made kind of a funny slide because he just did it as a precaution against perhaps a close play. He didn't need to slide, but when in doubt, go ahead and get down. Braves are all over Curt Schilling. Another mistake pitch, but Terry had third base easily. But again, right here, he decided at the last second he'd go down, and I think he got that right knee caught under him a little bit.
Might have been on the way up that he hurt it. In any event, runners at second and third.
Appears to be all right. Didn't want Jeff Porter out there looking at him either.
The Braves fans start the Sid chant, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Activity now in the bullpen for the Phils. Tim Mauser up and throwing. That will reach the seats. It's 0-2. Boy, a base hit here would really fix things up. Then you want to get the 5 innings in, and then
Exactly.
yuck it up. Outside. Bobby Cox was quoted as saying he thought Justice would miss this entire series. Assistant General Manager Dean Taylor said day to day. So I don't know. Popped out of play again. If they knew he was going to miss the entire series, I imagine they'd bring Tony Tarasco up here for a couple days just to be protected. A ball and 2 strikes.
And with that 11-man pitching staff, that's something they could do.
Line center field. 1 run is in. Here comes Gant. They're going to hold him. Dykstra hits the cutoff man. It's 5-0. Bream has his second RBI of the night. Boy, this is not the Curt Schilling we saw down in Atlanta. How much longer is Jim Fregosi going to go with him?
Sid Bream won for his last 25 with men in scoring position, and tonight he's 2 for 2, 2 RBIs, and here comes Fregosi.
That answers that question. That's going to do it for Curt Schilling. He's a fine pitcher, and he's had a great year, but not tonight. He went 2 1/3 innings, has given up 8 hits already. Fregosi, a superstitious chap, has worn that warm-up jacket no matter that he was 96 here yesterday. But they've been going so good, he keeps it on under all circumstances. We'll be back right after this.
As the Braves knock out Curt Schilling here in the 3rd inning. Mauser, a 6-footer, 185 pounds, out of Fort Worth, Texas, still makes his home there and attended Texas Christian University. Phillies' number 3 draft choice in '88. Last year, pitched at Scranton. He was 8-6, a 2.97 ERA. You can see that he's been in 4 ball games with the Phillies this year. The second RBI hit of Sid Bream for Sid Bream tonight is the one that gets Schilling out of the ball game. He seemed to be upstairs with everything tonight, and even on his attempt at a change up there, it had too much on it, and Sid was able to make an adjustment. We were talking about the wet turf. Well, one thing, as Terry limped home with the run, another advantage, if you want to put it that way, for the outfielders is that it's going to skip to you real quick, and that's why Gant couldn't score from second on the base hit.
We have a report from the radio booth that was an electrical outlet that started sparking and burning. An electrician came in, put it out. Don's trousers got singed. I shouldn't laugh, but I feel that I must. Here's Barry. 0-1 the count.
Doesn't that double knit fabric really go up in flames sometimes too? When you,
the what?
The double knit fabric, you know, the slack.
I'm sure it's a trade out anyway. That's why I'm laughing.
I'm glad he's all right.
I am too. The 0-1. All the way off the end of the bat. It's 0-2. Mauser out of Texas Christian. He had a game in which he struck out 15 against Miami, but that was back in 1989 when they were not in the major league. The 0-2 pitch, here it is. He got him with a breaking ball, or a split finger. That hurt. Berryhill leaves the runners on the corner. Mauser strikes out the first man he faces, and here's Mark Lemke again, and we need another 2-out hit.
Something rare for Berryhill in that situation, too. He's been driving in runs left and right, but a good pitch by Mauser, who had good numbers at Scranton before his recall on May 23rd. 2-0 with 10 saves and an ERA of 0.87 in 20 innings.
That did appear to be a split finger that he ran up there. Fastball outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Lemke singled in a run his first time. 5-0 Atlanta, our score. We're in the 3rd. That's on the corner, and it's 1-1. Charlie Rutherford, the home plate umpire tonight, with Dana Demuth, Jeff Kellogg, Paul Runge around the bases. Low and outside, it's 2-1. We shouldn't really laugh at our partner's misfortune. That could have been pretty serious.
Yeah, it could have been us.
But that's what I mean. That could have been serious. So from now on, Sutton is known as Sparky. Line, but right at the third baseman. Lemke hit it on the nose again. But right at Batiste, and the inning is over. The Braves get 1 on 3 hits. They lead 2. We go to the bottom of the third. It is 5-0. He's off to a fine start, hitting .305. And he hits that ball hard to right. Brian Hunter's there, though, and he's got it. 1 down. 1 pitch, 1 out. In the third, here's the shortstop, Joe Millette.
That ought to relax Brian Hunter a little bit out there, too. Remember that he was added to the lineup after everybody had taken batting practice, so he didn't even get to take any fly balls nor infield practice.
Millette is hitting just .250. He's played very little, no homers and RBI. And he looks at a strike. It's 0-1. Millette out of Walnut Creek, California. Just missed the outside corner. He's 6'1", 180-pounder. He's out of Diablo Valley College, Joe. High chop toward third, but foul.
I think that's where that barbershop quartet came from.
Yeah, we heard last year, I think.
Oh, yeah, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Los Caballos de Diablo. They were good.
They were good. Millette obtained as a free agent back in 1988. Last year he hit .266 at Scranton. Looks like he's got a lot of range around shortstop. He is in there because Mariano Duncan has a little hamstring problem that will cause him to miss 3 days or so. Funny thing, he hurt his hamstring on Kruk's home run yesterday. The ball was a line drive that just barely cleared the wall, and so Duncan was running hard, not knowing whether it would make it out or not, and pulled the muscle a little bit. Come on, Greg, you don't want to walk this guy. Full count. 5-8-0 for the Braves, 0-1-0 for the Phillies. Foul tipped at home plate. Barry Hill could not hang on.
This guy strikes me as being a type player like Saunders was for the Mets when we saw him playing at second base and doing a good job. Millette was hitting .264 in AAA. No home runs, 11 RBIs, but doing some good glove work.
Maddox gets him 2 down, and that's his second strikeout of the game. 2 away, and Tim Mauser will hit for himself. Maddox must be in shock out there. He doesn't know how to act with 5 runs this early. And his base hit was a big part of that 4-run uprising in the second. Kept the inning alive for Sanders to triple home 2. High and inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Pete Van Weer and Sparky Sutton will join you after 4.5. And I'll have some more stories for you about the big radio fire. 2 balls and a strike. Right through there, it's 2-2. Line right at Lemke, and the inning is over. Mauser put a little charge into it. Maddox has faced the minimum through 3, and our score is 5-0 Atlanta. We'll be back.
Come on, let's get a cold one.
Our total attendance for today's game.
Would you look at this beer line? I'm going to go back. What? Foul ball? No, I'm not.
something?
Milwaukee. And Boston, a leader over Minnesota. Chicago, a one-run lead. California leading Kansas City. And some other games out on the West Coast. One of the games, Seattle has an early lead over Oakland. Watch out for the Mariners.
Breaking ball outside, 1 ball, no strikes. We had a 2-hour, 7-minute, I think it was, rain delay at the outset of this game, so the fine movie presentation tonight. First the pitch line, but on one hop to Morandini. He'll throw Maddox out, 1 away. A really good film tonight on TBS. James Cagney, Pat O'Brien in the torrid zone. Still, it will come up after the game. We apologize for the lateness of the hour, but we can't control the weather. Deion Sanders, the batter, with 1 out, nobody on.
Got to be impressed with this Philly crowd, too, that stuck it out for 2 hours. A lot of them still here.
Deion doing a little drawing in the dirt. Now he stands in there. Tim Mauser goes to work. He's gotten out everybody he's faced. 0-1 the count. We are in the 4th. 5-0 Atlanta. Low and inside.
Phillies fans not used to the treatment tonight by the Braves coming in here, getting an early lead. They've been playing extremely well at home.
High fly down the left side. Thompson a long way to run, headed for the seat. He leaps but cannot make the play. A good effort by Milt.
In fact, that home record by the Phillies, the best in baseball. Tim Fergosi and his ball club, 26-10. It's been a while since they've had trouble here at home, too. Braves beat them 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. But it's tough going here.
That's some record. August 21st of last year. At the start of the last series they lost, that was to Houston, and it was a sweep. That would be nice. Talk about a little momentum. Sweep these guys, go home to play a Houston team that has just really struggled. Pop foul back and out of play. Still 2-2. 1 out, nobody aboard. The line on Curt Schilling, 2 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 1 strikeout. Almost hit him in a full count. The result, 3-2. What must it be like to be as gifted an athlete as Deion Sanders? High, lazy fly. Somebody will grab that. Milt Thompson calls for it. 2 down. To be an all-pro football player, chance to be already a major league ball player, hit over 500 in the '92 World Series.
No question he would have been the MVP of the World Series if the Braves had been able to come back and beat Toronto. Speed is so valuable. There's so many things that speed does for you, and that's his best asset. That and the fact that he's also a very strong guy in spite of his wiry build. Extremely strong in his upper body. But even when you make a mistake, when you're fast, you can overcome so many things.
And still learning in baseball. Didn't get the breaking ball. It's 1-1. In fairness to Hunter, he very seldom hits against right-handers, so this is a night where he could do himself some good with a couple of base hits. Check swing at a breaking ball. He's going to see a steady diet of those, I would guess. It's 1-2. But to be as good as Sanders, he'd be able to play, or Bo Jackson, too, to be a force in 2 major league sports. You must look at life differently than the rest of us. Got him with a breaking ball, inning over. Mauser records his 2nd strikeout, and he works a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. It's 5-0 Atlanta. We go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Len Dykstra will lead it off for the Phillies. He slid to left his first time. And he lines one to Blauser, one down. That ball was touched off Maddox just trying to get ahead. Gets an out. One away, and Morandini, the batter, he lined one to the mound. His first time.
Second baseman, Mickey Morandini.
Morandini stands in the pitch. It's high. 1 ball, no strikes.
A little bit hard to leap and get up off the turf when you've got a shin bone that hurts as bad as Jeff does, but he was able to make the catch in spite of it.
Upstairs. 2-0 the count.
Phillies ball club, when they came into Atlanta, when they left Atlanta, had a record of 25-10, and since then 23-10.
Fastball right through there. 2 balls, 1 strike.
There's not been any let up on their part.
Well, they're going to score a lot of runs, and their pitching has been outstanding. Three of their pitchers, former Braves, Mark Davis out of their bullpen, as well as Green and Rivera. Tommy Green got the win here yesterday. And Rivera will pitch on Wednesday. Lee Thomas to the left of your picture. As Joe said, this is his 5th anniversary. He came from the Cardinals, where he was director of minor league operations. And he's taken a lot of heat, but he's done a whale of a job here. And they love him now. That does it for Morandini. 2 down. Strikeout number 3 for Maddox.
A lot of fastballs from Greg, and that was one of them.
Might not see as many fastballs to this guy. John Kruk stands in. He struck out on a change. His first time up there.
I was just thinking about John Kruk when he was in the on-deck circle there. You were talking about his perfect body for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he was one guy who was thrilled to see high tops come to baseball.
Low and inside. 1 ball. I loved it. I interviewed him one time. I said, "What are you going to do when your career is over?" He said, "I don't know. Be a bum, I guess." He's just a good guy. 2-0. His line about his team this year was, "We're not bad guys, but you wouldn't want to have us over to your house for dinner."
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh,
Boy.
the 2-0. Drill, deep center field. Dion on the move. He drops the ball. How far can Kruk go? He's around second. He's racing for third, and he'll pull in there.
We're talking about that speed a minute ago and the athletic ability. This ball was hammered, and Dion was playing deep with 2 outs, but he actually overran this ball.
They give him a triple on that. That's got to be an error, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. That ball should have been caught, but again, his speed took him past the flight of the baseball.
And Darren Dalton is the hitter. So Maddox has to pitch around the mistake. Dalton singled his first time, and he takes one a little inside. 1 ball, no strike. Just missed the outside corner. 2-0 to count. Greg comes set and deals right at Lemke on 1 hop, and the inning will be over. And the triple that should have been an error does no damage. 1 hit, a cheapie, no runs, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 4, it's 5-0 Atlanta. We go to the top of the 5th inning. Braves on top 5-0. We had a 2-hour, 7-minute rain delay at the outset. That's why we're here in the middle of the game at this late hour. And the movie with James Cagney, The Torrid Zone, will follow the game. Mauser is 0 for 2. Good curveball by Mauser, but it missed outside. 1 ball, no strikes. All the way to the screen. It's 2-0. Got to get through 5 to make it an official game here. But the forecast is for no more rain tonight. As we know, they are sometimes incorrect.
One of Jeff's concerns last night after the injury was that swelling might settle in his ankle, cause him some problems.
See if this one stays in play. I think it will for John Kruk near the Phillies dugout. He puts it away, 1 down. Blauser's not getting good swings because he can't put a whole lot of weight on his foot.
He can't hit against that firm front leg, which is the way he normally hits. He's not a front foot hitter and uses it for leverage. Take a look from our. You can see his knee was bent there when he first made his step to the mound. It never is like that. It's usually very firm, very solid when he's hitting against it. But tonight, a little bit soft on the swing there.
That's why averages, while they are a barometer of a player's worth, strike to Pendleton, who's 2 for 2. There's more to it than that. Boy, if you're able to play hurt, contribute. Here's a guy who's done that ever since he's been to Atlanta. Terry Pendleton with his hamstring problems and knee problems.
Think about Sid Bream and his knee troubles over the years. Tom Glavine last year with that rib cage injury.
There was one where I thought they all made a mistake. He'd have been better off not pitching.
He says that too.
Now, in retrospect. In fact, he and I had a spirited discussion about that last year when all that was going on. Ground ball to first. Kruk hits Mauser. 2 down.
You know, there's one guy that keeps coming to mind, Skip, that I don't know that we've talked much about. When we talked about Dion's situation when he was gone from the ball club. Otis not happy now that he's not playing. There was a guy in his ball club last year who went through very much the same situation. You never heard a word out of him, but he was always ready when Bobby Cox asked him to play, and that was Lonnie Smith.
And hated the whole year because he didn't get to play much.
And wanted to and deserved to.
He's a gamer. Laid down a big bunt in that game last night to help the Pirates win it. As a matter of fact, he's not having a real good year. He was hitting .242, if I'm not mistaken. Cost us a game early this year with a home run. The 1-0 hit hard, but foul past third. Gant has struck out and doubled.
That fastball looked like it was by him, and yet he still got the head of the bat out there and yanked it foul. He told me yesterday in a radio interview that part of why he is feeling so good at the plate right now is because he's pulling some balls foul like he used to do. He's getting the head of the bat out there quickly.
Breaking ball, low and away.
And he's doing it without having to open up that front side.
And at 278 now for the year. Former TBS employee Joel Westbrook here at the ballpark tonight, rooting for the Braves. The pitch on the corner. Gant not so sure about that. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pete and Sparky will join you after this half inning. Tell you about the Fire. Just missed the double again. He's wearing Batiste out down that third baseline. Nice play by the ball girl. That's a warm response from the crowd.
Just missed the bag. In fact, it threw up a little chalk right in front of the base, but it's got to be in fair territory going over that bag.
So Gant stands back in there. Mauser deals. Gant rips another one foul. And the fans battle for a souvenir.
This is a tough place. This is a tough ballpark for fans when Ron Gant's up there. The way it curves around where they're actually facing back toward home plate. Only about 200 feet away.
Tell you what, you got to be loose when you come to the ballpark unless you're behind the screen. And that was behind the screen. He took a shot at some of those folks. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Mauser has done the job of the long reliever. He's kept the Braves from adding on. count. He didn't miss by much. He wanted that pitch. 3-2.
That may have been a case where the veteran hitter got to call the borderline pitch over the rookie pitcher.
Mauser doesn't mess around. He works quickly. Missed inside, a 2-out walk. So Gant is aboard. Mauser issues his first pass and the first walk of the game by either side. Sid Bream has had a good night. 2 out of 2, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Pat Corrales coaching at first. Jimmy Williams at third for Atlanta. Gant could be running here. He's 11 out of 16 in the stolen base department. Low and inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Braves lead it 5-0. 2:07 was our rain delay at the outset. But if you're a Braves fan, this game has been well worth waiting for. Gant dives back. Pretty close play over there. It pops away. It can't be found. Relaford took that one off the elbow. And the home plate umpire is hurting. It got him right on the left elbow.
And that was a case where a bluff by the base runner caused the catcher to flinch a little bit and jump up a little quickly out of his crouch. Darren Dalton came up here ready to throw when he saw Ron Gant bluff. Tried to pancake the pitch, and it went right over the top of his glove and caught Relaford square, and now Darren can't find it.
It scored a wild pitch, and now a base hit would mean yet another Atlanta run. There's a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. Runner at second, 2 down in the 5th. Line drive, right field. Here comes in Cavilla's throw. Gant races for the plate. He is in there. And the wild pitch pays off, and Bream has his 3rd RBI of the night. It is 6-0.
He had a 2-out RBI hit in the 2nd inning, a 1-out RBI in the 3rd, and now another 2-out hit here to right field. They wanted the pitch away, but look where the fastball stayed. Bell tie out over the plate. Eisenreich got it on a perfect hop, but Jim's throw a little bit short of the relay man. Kruk took too much time to get to Dalton, and Gant scores standing up.
Did I call him in Cavilla?
Yeah, but
he's got the right number of syllables.
Mm-hmm.
Damon Berryhill's 0 for 2. It is Jim Eisenreich in right field, and the count is 0-1. 6-9-0 for the Braves, 2-0 for the Phillies. Maybe this is the start of one of those real hot streaks for Atlanta. Looked like he turned that ball over.
With the mention of Incavilla, I mean, another great pickup by the Phillies. He's had a great year, hitting .293 with 11 homers and 44 RBIs.
Look at all the free agents on this team. Incavilla, De Leon, Eisenreich, Duncan, Milt Thompson. Little tap down the 3rd baseline. Batiste, good play, unloads, got him. That's a fine play. And the inning is over. The Braves add on, though. They pick up an insurance run on 1 hit, and they leave 1. The end of 4 1/2. Your score: Braves 6, Phillies nothing.
Delighted I am to be over here.
Man.
We had a little problem over in the radio booth earlier.
I got some holes in my pants from the, if you want to see them here. Eisenreich will lead it off. And the first pitch is a strike. Good night for the Braves. Greg Maddux has got to think, holy cow, whose uniform am I wearing? Having 6 runs to play with. The Braves average about 2.5 every time Greg goes out there. On the ground, backhand by Blauser. And it gets by Bream. We'll see how they score that, but Eisenreich is being awarded second. Berryhill, Maddox, and Bream, and now comes Bobby Cox to argue it.
I think what they're going to argue about is it looked like a fan picked up that ball. The ball did not bounce into the stands. A fan picked it up. And they're going to make Eisenreich come back to first. And now Jim Fregosi is going to come out and argue. I think Blauser thought too late about throwing it on the long hop off the turf. And so it came off the dirt portion. Bream tried to dig it out, backhanded, and could not. And after it gets by Bream and rolls over toward the railing, a fan reaches over and picks it up. It did not bounce into the seats. If it bounces into the seats, the runner is awarded second base.
Jeff, with a little more experience at playing on turf, will probably do that throw a la Terry Pendleton, about 10 feet out in front of Bream. Jeff draws the air. And it'll bring up Milt Thompson. Thompson 0 for 1. He's grounded to second. Pendleton will have one chance. He throws out Thompson. One out in the fifth inning. Kim Batiste will come to the plate. He's 0 for 1. He's hit the right field. You had Milt Thompson on a pregame show in radio. How does he feel, having been in this organization, the Braves, that is, about all the things that have happened in the last couple of years?
Well, it's not only Milt, it's Tommy Green, Ben Rivera. They were both with the Braves when things were not going as well as they have the last two seasons, and they've been very much aware that it would have been nice to have been a part of that organization the last couple of years. So it's especially rewarding for them to have the Phillies experiencing the kind of year they are this year, because they've got a very good chance of being around come October.
And for Thompson, his second tour of duty here at Philadelphia. 1-0 to Batiste. Eisenreich at second. That's fisted out of play. Count I'll leave it at 1-1. 4 runs in the second, 1 in the third, another in the fifth. The Braves on top 6-0. Maddox, his 16th start. He has 3 complete ball games. Greg, without a shutout to this point. Count 2-2. To right center field, that's going to get in. Hunter cut off by Bream. Eisenreich had to play it safe. Down by 6, they have to. They're at the corner. That's a third base hit for the Phillies. It'll bring up the shortstop, Joe Millette.
Batiste has done a terrific job in Dave Holland's absence. Took a pitch that was down and away, just went with it. And believe me, the Phillies are not intimidated by being down by 6. This team scores a lot of runs. They're capable of putting together big innings. So they don't have to be daredevils on the bases. They can play it safe down by this many.
Braves keep the infield back, looking for 2. Millette, a strikeout victim, his first time that he faced Greg Maddox. Maddox runs a fastball in on him, and it's 0-1.
They are getting a little bit of a break catching the Phillies at this time without Hollins, without Wes Chamberlain. Mariano Duncan might not be available for this series, so they've got a little injury problem of late, but they're still a very, very good offensive team.
And the Braves are also going to miss Tommy Green, and they're going to miss Mulholland, too. 0-2 with Joe Millette. That's outside, and it's 1-2. Millette out of Northern California, out of St. Mary's College and Diablo Valley College up near Danville, up in the Walnut Creek area. Fouls it away, and it's 1-2. Ricky Jordan has a bat. He's come out on deck. He will bat in the pitcher's spot. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. There's a look at Jordan. Maddox will try for 2 to Blauser to first. Nice play. Good fielding play by Greg Maddox. He didn't hesitate. And a good job by Blauser at second base turning the double play. The Phillies get a couple of runners, but they come up empty here in the 5th inning. Another look as we wrap up the inning. 5 in the books. Braves on top 6-0.
From the phone.
There's the line score. That's exactly what's happened at this point. Schilling, a brief night for him. Bream, a perfect night. Deion Sanders, a couple of RBIs. And as always, the Philadelphia Fanatic putting on a great show. Here he is, having a little fun at Mark Lemke's expense. I'll tell you what, when you get past the Chicken and the Fanatic, I think this guy's the greatest. He's been doing this for a while. There is a great...
Become quite a celebrity in town, too. He has his own television show. Makes many personal appearances all over the country.
Lemke will lead it off. Mark 1 out of 2, a single. He scored a run. He's driven in a run. Ground ball to second. Morandini should be easy for him. And Lemke goes quietly to start the 6th inning. Greg Maddox will take his time coming up to the plate. He has earned it. Maddox a single, and he scored a run. And he's also grounded to second. Greg all the way up to 211. Treated with respect. A breaking ball, first pitch for a strike. That's out of play, and it's 0-2. The Fanatic has his own bio in their press guide. It reads he's 6 feet, 300 pounds, mostly fat. Made his debut on April 25th, 1978. Where is he from? The Galapagos Islands. Maddox is gone. That's a 3rd strikeout for Tim Mauser. Description, his eyes, white eyeballs, black pupils, purple eyelashes, and blue eyebrows. His skin is a bright green fur. Can you describe him physically, it says? Overweight, clumsy feet, extra long beak, curled up red tongue, gawking neck, slight case of BO. And great entertainment. He is the best. Here's Deion Sanders, 1 out of 3. And prime time playing the mixed reviews here at the vet, too. Out of play, 0-1. He was a creation, the Fanatic was, of the weekly staff meetings of the Phillies marketing department back after the 77 season when they were trying to figure out a little something to spice up the games here. Right at Croc. He takes a base hit away from Deion Sanders. So Mauser has himself a 1-2-3 inning. Braves go not quietly, but in order. We played 5.5. It's still good news. Braves on top 6-0.
We'll have the answer for you
I bet you know that one, don't
in
you?
the next half inning. I think so.
You're good at this stuff. Ruben Amaro is going to pinch hit for Mauser. First pitch is fouled out of play. And the count 0-1 to Amaro. Amaro, as a left-handed hitter, has had 1 at bat. It was as a pinch hitter, and he is 0 for 1. No balls, 2 strikes. He was recalled from Scranton Wilkes-Barre to replace Wes Chamberlain. That happening about 4 days ago. Just missed with the fastball. It's 1-2. Twice he's been up as a pinch hitter. Once as a lefty, an ofer. Once as a righty, an ofer. So he's 0 for 2 overall. Good changeup. He's gone. Barry Hill will have to make the throw. He does. Bream takes it on the other end, and that's strikeout number 4 for Maddox.
And number 90 on the season. He leads the National League in strikeouts.
Top of the order, Lenny Dykstra. He's hit the ball well a couple of times off of Greg Maddox. Once a liner to Ron Gant, and the other a liner to Jeff Blauser. About a .255 hitter career off Maddox. The two of them have faced each other a lot. Here's a strike, and it's 0-1. New pitcher when the Braves come to bat will be De Leon. There you see him loosening up in the bullpen. Liner, Blauser, can he get it? Yes. Nice play by Jeff Blauser. And, Pete, you can see that leg is definitely bothering Jeff.
Yeah, he's had trouble with it, both hitting and moving in the field, but he's made some fine defensive plays out there tonight, 2 of them on Dykstra. He had the leap in the air to grab the lineup by Dykstra in the 4th inning. This time, going up the middle.
With 2 gone, it'll bring up Morandini. He's 0 for 2. Out of play.
Another look at the play by Jeff Blauser. He's just unable to put, you can see he's running, when he's running on his left leg, he's right up on his toe. He just can't put much weight on that left leg because of that severe bruise down the lower shin.
To left field, foul territory. Pendleton, Blauser, Gant. Nobody can get to it. That'll put Morandini in a hole 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Yes, sir. All in all, a day today that I think you could get Colgate Palmolive to sponsor. It has been a real soap opera type day here in Philadelphia.
I'll tell you what, that top half of the 3rd inning was the only time in the baseball game I saw a team make a pitching change to put out a fire, and also an electrician come into a radio booth to put out a fire.
Just off the corner, it's 1-2. Well, I was never called a flamethrower as a pitcher. And that's the first time I've ever been a flame catcher. That's a Philadelphia hotfoot.
And we couldn't find it for a half an inning.
Oh, man.
We could smell it. We could hear it.
Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Morandini. And on top of that, we were working in the Okefenokee Swamp over there. About 2 inches of water. Good cut by Morandini, but it's 2-2. Do they give hazardous duty pay in radio?
They're going to have to start.
I bet our guy in charge of sales down in radio can sell some ads on that stuff. Comebacker. Maddox has made a couple of good plays tonight. Add 1 more to the list and credit him with a 1-2-3 inning. Enjoy the smile. You earned it. Phillies go quietly in the 6th. We put 6 in the books here. It's the Braves on top. 6-zip. Braves, they lead at 7-0. But before we begin play, a reminder, our FLAC trivia question. Who holds the National League record for most career Grand Slams? If you said Willie McCovey, you were right. He has 18. And I think I helped contribute to that. Major League record, Lou Gehrig with 23. Score is 6-0. We're set to go, and here's Pete to take you the rest of the way.
Okay, Don. Jose De Leon, the 3rd pitcher to work tonight for the Phillies, replacing Tim Mauser. Mauser had a good outing, 3 2/3 innings, gave up just 1 hit, 1 run, walked 1, struck out 3. Hunter, first pitch swinging, fly ball to right, Eisenreich. For the Cats, 1 pitch, 1 out. De Leon making his 16th appearance. You saw the numbers on him, but he's been a pitcher throughout his career. You look at him and you say, why hasn't this guy won more games? He's 2-0 this year, but lifetime, 77 wins, 113 losses.
He has been described as having the best stuff that never made anybody a winner.
Here's Blauser taking the strike in the outside corner.
He watches mechanics are so simple. He gets such good leverage. He has 3 quality pitches, but always seems to find a way to throw a ball in the hitting area late in the game.
And he's ahead in the count 0-2 on Blauser.
I had a scout tell me once that he will throw his good fastball
He'll throw his good forkball. Then late in the game when it's on the line, he wants to try to blow people away with his fastball when it's just a little bit shorter.
Some more of the good stuff of De Leon gets Blauser 2 down. His first strikeout. Let me just give you some numbers that De Leon had one year as you watch strike 3 again to Jeff Blauser. One year, De Leon pitched in 31 games, 162 innings, gave up 138 hits, walked 89, struck out 149. His record that year, 2-19. That was with the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1985. Here's Terry Pendleton taking a strike in the outside corner, 0-1. Terry tonight 2 for 3, a double, a single. He's scored 2 runs. Now has an 11-game hitting streak. Look out, Terry. Down to first, he'll go, hit by the De Leon pitch.
He's seen him enough to know that he can get wild, and Terry knows that this was not anything deliberate. He just overthrew it. Watch Terry turn into this. If you're going to get hit, that's the spot to do it. Right in the seat of the pants. And only then can you have a laugh at it. It still doesn't feel good, but that is usually the most amply padded spot on most of all players.
So Pendleton aboard. Here's Ron Gant, who has struck out, doubled, and walked.
Did you see Ron Gant backing out of there after Pendleton got hit? The breaking ball had him bailing.
The count 0-1 on Gant. 2 men out. We're in the 7th inning. Braves up 6-0. After a 2-hour and 7-minute rain delay. And the count even on Gant now. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bert Schilling started the game tonight for the Phillies. He was knocked out in the 3rd inning, giving up 5 runs and 8 hits in just 2 1/3. On the ground toward short, fielded by Millette. Good throwing arm on Millette as he gets Ron Gant for out number 3. We go to the bottom of the 7th. It's still Braves 6, Phillies nothing.
Like a
I got an 88 Chevrolet Silverado with 304,000 miles. I drive it to work 125 miles one way to work, 304,000 miles, still rolling.
I got approximately 353,000 miles on this truck. It runs 10 or 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. It's always brought us in, you know, regardless of where we was or what we was doing.
Chevrolet, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Keep tires on it, keep gas in it, it'll go.
At Foot Locker, people ask why haven't they heard more about A6 gels? Well, the A6 athlete who wears them can't be found on a cereal box. And you won't find him on every T-shirt in town. The A6 athlete can only be found in his gels. And at Foot Locker.
For a short now for Jeff Blauser. And John Kruk will lead it off for the Phillies. He has struck out and tripled. Been a long night for that young man. 0-1 the count on John Kruk. What Greg Maddux is doing to the Phillies right now, quite remarkable. The Phillies have not been shut out all year. And Maddux has blanked them on 3 hits over the first 6 innings. 1-1 the count.
Isn't it funny? You look at John Kruk, he is not exactly your trim type guy, and they worry about weight, but when you're putting these numbers up, you're called robust and healthy. Those are some good numbers, good impressive ranking.
Now the 1-1 on the way. Didn't mean to, fouls it off 1-2.
John Kruk is one of those guys, Pete, that if you paid him $12 million or $12, he would play baseball the same way.
Out of the old school.
House of David.
Here's the 1-2. Moved him off the plate, 2-2.
Do you remember that group?
Yes, I do. The House of David used to barnstorm around the country. They all had beards.
He'd fit right in. And none of them were on Slim Fast.
Here's the 2-2 on the way. Fly ball, well hit left center field. Deion Sanders chasing this one, won't get to it. Going to bounce off the wall. Kruk heading for second, and he's in with a stand-up double. His 18th double of the year. That was a patented John Kruk hit. He goes the other way a lot.
And has a lot of power there. Watch this pitch. They want it inside, but it tails back out over the plate. If he gets that in on Kruk, then he gets the out. And it carried away from Deion Sanders, gave up on it, played it off the wall, held into a double.
So the leadoff man at second base here in the last of the seventh, and now Darren Dalton, who has singled and grounded out to second. Dalton with 57 RBIs this year, second only to Matt Williams right now in the National League. Williams has 63. Outside corner for a called strike, 0-1. It's like all of a sudden Darren Dalton realized, I can play better than I have. And has he ever put the numbers up the last 2 years? High in the air to left field, Ron Gant waits a long time for that one to come down. Holding at second is Kruk. One man out.
I've heard a number of scouts and coaches say that Darren Dalton may be the strongest man in the National League. And when you run through some pretty good-sized folks that are playing in this league, that's a pretty good compliment.
One away for Jim Eisenreich. They are underway, by the way, in San Francisco. The Padres lead the Giants 1-0 going to the bottom of the third. Here it's 6-0 Atlanta. We're in the last of the seventh. Nothing and 1 the count. We'll run through all the scores for you on our Delta scoreboard next half inning. One ball, one strike to Eisenreich.
This is one of those kind of guys, Eisenreich, that you pick up when you think you have a chance of building a winner. You fill in with a guy like him, with a guy like Incaviglia, and look what he's done with men in scoring position. He had a good year last year. I was surprised to see him available.
In the left field, that one's going to fall for a base hit. They're going to stop Kruk at third. Again, no gambling on the base pads, down by 6. And they're at first and third now with just 1 out. That gives Eisenreich an 11-game hitting streak.
Another pitch that runs back out over the plate. So they're trying to get in on it. If you watch Maddox over this year, you'll see that when Maddox gets the ball hit off of him, it's not because he's wild and pitching behind in the count. It's just that he gets such movement that a lot of times he wants the ball on the inside corner and it moves into the center of the plate rather than staying inside. And just the opposite when he wants it off the plate, it moves back over.
Here's Milt Thompson now, 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second, grounded out to third. First and third, 1 down. 5 hits for the Phillies now off of Maddox. Inside corner for a strike, 0-1.
That's the pitch he wanted.
Sammy Duvall at this.
That one out. And Sid Bream has his running in for the day.
And that'll bring up Greg Maddox. 1 for 3 in the ball game. Braves with a 6-run cushion again. Infield in for the Phillies. And again he grooved one, and Maddox fouled it off out of play right side. If there is a question about the Philadelphia Phillies, it is their bullpen.
And there have been numerous rumors about their being interested in a number of relievers around baseball.
They're going to be awfully tough to catch because of the huge lead that they've amassed at such an early stage of the season. But Philadelphia fans know leads like this have been blown before by Philadelphia Philly teams, much later in the year. It's 2-1 now on Maddox. Hill, the runner at third, Lemke at first. And the 2-1 on the way, up the middle, base hit center field. That'll score Barry Hill from third. Lemke stops at second. It's 8-1. And that is sending a lot of folks home. Maddox drives in his second run of the year. Johnny Padre is on his way to the mound. Still nobody out in the inning.
Another pitch right down the middle to Maddox. Give him a little credit. He's a pretty good hitting pitcher. But this may be one of those times in a ball game right there where Padres is sent out with a little encouragement. But since there's nobody throwing in the bullpen, what he may be saying is somebody's got to take one for the team, and you were just elected.
So we'll go back to the top of the order with Deion Sanders. Deion tonight 1 for 4. He had a 2-run triple back in the second. Was robbed of a base hit his last time up when he lined one sharply, but it was backhanded by first baseman John Kruk. 13 hits in the game now for the Braves. 8-1. Strike in the inside corner, 0-1. It's 0-2 on Deion.
See what Dalton did there to make sure as many 0-2 pitches or 2-strike pitches as he's thrown in the strike zone. Dalton wanted the fastball just to showcase it, but he moved his whole body out off the corner. That may be his way of trying to emphasize where he wants the ball. Sometimes you have to do that. Watch and see if he slides his whole body any place. Yes, he wants it inside, and it came right back out over the middle.
Deion fouls it out, still 1-2.
See, this is where you've got to be kind of smart as a pitcher. You've got to know that a guy like Deion Sanders doesn't walk a lot. He's going to be swinging anything. There's absolutely no reason in the world to throw him a strike with the count 1-2.
Missed inside and low, 2-2.
That's the best pitch he's thrown this inning. That's where Dalton wanted it. It had a purpose. It was to maybe catch the inside corner. He had good movement. He had good velocity. Now, what he hasn't been doing is being able to back a pitch like that with an out pitch.
This time he does. As Deion goes down on strikes, second strikeout for De Leon, out number 1 here in the top half of the 8th inning.
That's the first good pitching we've seen out of De Leon here. Fastball inside sets it up. There's that tumbling split finger. And he had him out by about a foot.
So now Brian Hunter steps in. He's 0 for 4 tonight. And he fouls back the first one. The count 0-1. 8-1 Atlanta, top half of the 8th inning. Braves trying to win their 3rd straight game on this road trip after dropping the opening game in Montreal. High and deep to left field. Milt Thompson back near the warning track for the catch. The runners stay put at first and second. And Hunter just missed one there.
Looked like a good swing by Brian, but just from the sound of the bat and the way that it didn't carry, I'll bet you that big swing, he caught the ball right near the end of the bat. Almost fooled Thompson, too. He was headed back for the wall.
You could see Brian Hunter a little upset with himself there. He stormed down the walkway back toward the locker room.
It's got to be a little bit of a thrill for Rafael Belliard. Maybe one of the few times in his life he's hit in the 3rd spot.
2 outs, runners first and second. Belliard fouls away the first one, 0-1. Belliard hurting a little bit. He was hit right in the center of the chest by a pitch in Montreal. So the Braves have a few bumps and bruises. Didn't get the high fastball, the count 0-2. Two more runs have scored here in the 8th. Braves scored 4 times in the 2nd inning, once in the 3rd, once in the 5th. 2 more runs here in the 8th. Leading at 8-1. And the 0-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. Belliard. Caught looking. That'll do it for the Braves in the 8th. But the Braves add 2 to their lead. It's 8-1 as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
1993.
Happy with that. I'll tell you, this ball club's got a couple of poker faces when they pitch. Well, take a look at this. He wants to get the change up over. See it go down and away? Yep, there you are. Not what I had in mind.
Well, here's John Kruk, 2 for 3. A little dribbler out past the mound. Mark Lemke charging it. He'll throw on to first in time. And the walk doesn't hurt. We've completed 8 innings here in Philadelphia. Braves on top comfortably.
Thursday, a young love.
The 4th Philadelphia pitcher of the night, former Brave Mark Davis, back where it all began for him in the major leagues with the Phillies. His record 1-2, his ERA 4.01, making his 21st relief appearance for Philadelphia. You'll see the rest of the numbers on Mark. And with Mike Stanton getting up now in the Atlanta bullpen, Bobby Cox, Leo Mazzoni talking to Greg Maddux at the end of the 8th inning. And Leo Mazzoni and Bobby Cox deciding that maybe Mike Stanton can use a little work in the 9th inning of this game. I think that's the major issue.
That may have been a case right there of Greg Maddux deciding that that's going to be it for him.
So a good outing for Greg Maddux. 8 innings, just 1 run allowed. And although it's not a save situation, Mike Stanton will be coming on in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Bill Pecota up to pinch hit for Terry Pendleton. Some of the other regulars getting the rest of the night off. Pendleton tonight was 2 for 3. And Pecota on the year hitting .296. Driven in 3 runs, 4 to 13 as a pinch hitter. Strike in the outside corner, 1-1. I think the Braves getting the game tonight that they really needed to get. They were very, very thin on reserves tonight with David Justice, not with the ball club for personal matters that had to be 10-2 back home. Out of play right side, 1-2. Otis Nixon unavailable because of an injured foot. So there wasn't a lot of depth on that bench tonight.
I'm sure Pecota's had quite a few thrills, and I've seen him smiling with a few base hits that he's had for the Braves. I'm not sure I've seen him any happier than he was Saturday up in Montreal. A bunch of the guys went out fishing, or maybe it was Friday. He caught his first great northern pike, and I understand it was a monster, too. So his first trip out up there was a good one.
Back out of play, 2-2. One of the great conversations of this road trip occurred up in Montreal. Speaking of fishing, some of the folks that were going to make that trip were questioning a local authority on good fishing spots. And they were being told about a place only about an hour north of the city of Montreal. Count goes to 3-2. And Bill Acree, who usually leads these excursions, said, only an hour, huh? And it's again, an hour flight. It's about a 6 or 7 hour drive. That changed the plans immediately. Here's the 3-2 now to Pecota. And he's going to be called out on strikes by plate umpire Charlie Relaford. Davis records his first strikeout, and that'll bring up Ron Gant.
Pecota might have had breaking ball in the back of his mind, because Davis throws this one right down the middle, just over the knees. Dalton wants it there. He won't move the mitt very far. Right at the knees. I'll bet he was looking for that hook.
Gant tonight 1 for 3. There's the breaking ball. Missing low and inside, ball 1. If you followed baseball for a while, you all know the Mark Davis story. One of the great mysteries in recent years. What happened to Mark Davis? Former Cy Young Award winner, one of the premier relief pitchers in the game just a few years ago. Went over to Kansas City, and everything turned. 89, he pitched in 70 games, 4 wins, 44 saves, won the Cy Young Award with the San Diego Padres. Ron Gant, the deep short. Kim Batiste, long throw. Just in time, 2 down. But when Davis went over to Kansas City as a free agent in 1990, he went from a Cy Young Award winner to a pitcher who went 2-7 with an ERA of 5.11 and only 6 saves, and he's never been able to get it back the way it was in '89 since then. Braves took a chance on him last year, pitched in 14 games late in the season, had an ERA of over 7. Brought him to spring training this year. He had a pretty good spring, but he was the one that was cut at the very end of spring training. Traded over to the Phillies for a minor league player. One ball, one strike. There's that good breaking ball, 1-2. Quite a few tired folks in the ballpark tonight. A 2-hour, 7-minute rain delay at the outset. Well, it's now tomorrow. There's the 1-2. Fouled off. Still 1-2 on Sid Bream. 4 for 4 tonight. Second time he's had a 4-hit game since joining the Braves. He had one last season. His career high, a 5-hit game back in '86. And the 1-2 offering on the ground to short. Batiste, another chance. And Davis has a 1-2-3 ninth inning. We go to the bottom half of the ninth. It's been all Braves.
If you thought Banana George Blair had found the fountain of youth,
I'm 77 and still barefooting.
you'd be half right, because the one he's found is actually for his car. With a little Armor All Protectant, George restores the beauty of his dashboard and seats, and in minutes it helps protect his tires from fading and aging.
It keeps my car looking almost as good as me.
There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. Armor All. Now look for money-saving specials at these and other fine stores.
Come in. Cousin Dave, we're here. Say, nice place you got here.
Dave, you remember the twins? Norma Jean, her boyfriend Luke, and this is Ding Chow, our exchange student. What's happening?
I'm starved. Well, we go to Wendy's.
This summer, Wendy's has something for everyone, like Junior Bacon cheeseburgers and Caesar side salads on the 99-cent super value menu, and a hamburger kids meal for $1.99.
It's time to go.
So soon? You talked us into it. We're staying.
Your deck versus nature. Your deck versus Nathan. Only one stain protects against both. With Scuff Guard formula. For all kinds of nature and all kinds of Nathans. No house stain protects and beautifies like Olympic deck stain. Olympic, the only one.
8-1 Braves. We go to the bottom half of inning 9. With Dalton Eisenreich and Thompson do a couple of changes to the Braves. Mike Stanton, the new Atlanta pitcher. Also, Bill Pecota stays in the game at third base. Mike Stanton making just his second appearance in the last 11 days. Just his fourth appearance since June 2nd. The starting pitching has been turning in some occasional complete games this month. There have been other games that really haven't been save situations, which is where Mike is used. He owns all of the saves out of the Braves bullpen this year, all 20 of them. So here's an opportunity for Mike to get an inning of work with a comfortable margin for a change. Usually he's in there pitching with the game on the line. And Darren Dalton will lead it off. Dalton tonight 1 for 3.
Remember, early in the year, these were the kind of games that he struggled in. If it was on the line, he pitched very well. But if he had a little breathing room, then he would create a little excitement to kind of get his adrenaline flowing.
Picked up his 20th save of the season on Saturday night in Montreal. Inside the Dalton, ball 1. I remember that game if you were watching Saturday night. how wild Mike was on the first hitter. First 4 pitches, not even close to the strike zone. But he settled down after that. There's a strike to count even. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, it took a while, but we got this one in. Good breaking ball, 1-2 now on Darren Dalton. One of those days where, now that we're getting close to the end of the day, you really feel like you put in some hours at this ballpark today. With all the stuff that was going on. First, the announcement that David Justice was going to have to go home to tend to some personal matters. That's it for Dalton. Stanton gets the strikeout. Then the announcement that Otis Nixon, who was penciled into the lineup in place of Justice, couldn't play because of a bad foot. 2-hour and 7-minute rain delay. Electrical fire in the radio booth.
Tell me that Backdraft is the movie coming up next, and it will be a completely, the day will be right.
Here's Eisenreich. Extended his hitting streak to 11 games with a single in the 7th inning.
We talk about pitching styles on these telecasts a lot, and we talk about how simple mechanics and how guys throw nice and easy. Stanton is one of those guys, if you slowed him down, you would take away his effectiveness. A very animated delivery, the high, quick leg kick. And if you ever see Mike ending up square, back up the outfielders and have him back up third, because his momentum, when he's throwing right, carries him toward the third baseline.
Downstairs, 2-1.
Take a look right here. Always from the stretch. Well, that's when he's going back down to get ready. Now he's on the go. Good drive, good follow-through.
In the air to left center field, not very deep. Back goes the shortstop. Rafael Belliard makes a nice play. And that's out number 2 in the bottom half of the 9th inning.
Rafael Belliard and Jeff Blauser both go back into shallow left field on these balls as well as anybody you will see. You see Gann out of the picture, but Belliard doing what he's supposed to do. He's going to head out there until somebody calls him off. One more point on Stanton, Pete. If you're going to teach a guy like Mike an off-speed pitch, it has to be a pitch that you can throw flat out and have the grip kill the speed. You can't teach him one of those routine change-ups or any of those. It has to be some pitch that he can just grab it, gun it, and have the grip kill the speed on it. But it may be a while before he'll be looking for one of those. He's got a good breaking ball in his fastball. Very alive and with good velocity on it.
Ahead in the count here on Milt Thompson, 0-1. Check swing, foul, 0-2.
There are a lot of people who think that the turning point in his career may have happened right here in this stadium. Remember last year when he forgot to cover first base? I think it was an embarrassment to him, and I think some people said, hey, Mike, come on, you're supposed to be responsible. Let's get it going. And I think he came out the next day throwing bullets, and I believe it was a turnaround in his career.
Still 0-2 on Thompson.
Sometimes you never know what it takes to get a guy's attention. It may be something he does himself. It may be a reminder from a teammate, from a coach, from a manager, or somewhere outside of baseball. But once it got his attention, he has been throwing some bullets for the Braves.
Again, the 0-2 on the way, a little high, 1-2, and he had no idea going into this season. He was just talking about that yesterday. No idea going into this season that he would have this role this year. Because all spring long, all we heard was bullpen by committee, bullpen by committee.
Or Brian Harvey in a trade.
Yeah, thinking that everybody out there might be used in save situations. But as we said, he has all 20 Atlanta saves this year, and a 1-2-3 bottom of the 9th here to preserve it for Greg Maddux as the Braves take the opener from the Phillies and win their 3rd game in a row. Final score, Braves 8, Phillies 1. We'll be back with the wrap-up right after this.